If I sang to them, ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba ba. If I said, "Could you sing to me the resting tone?" They first of all, I mean, or if I used a word other than resting tone, could you sing me home? No, they could not. Could you tell me what meter we're in? No. Could you show me where the big beats are, where the little beats are? We're as a world, as a music education profession, we're just not teaching our students to understand. We're teaching them to just imitate.
You're watching Tim Topham TV, the piano teaching podcast, and this is episode number 51. Hi, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the podcast for piano teachers. I'm Tim Topham, and today we have a fantastic guest with us, and I'm very excited to share his knowledge with you. His name is Andy Mullen, and he has produced a blog post out on Monday this week, which I'd highly recommend you check out before you listen to this, because it's actually going to put a whole lot of that stuff into context. Although it's totally fine to watch this and then read his article as well. Andy is an absolutely brilliant musician and teacher trainer. And he knows all about audiation and tonal and rhythm patterns and the music learning theory approach to teaching them. So I've really left the best to last this month. This is our last podcast in Music Learning Theory Month. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot, and you're going to learn even more today by seeing and hearing Andy in action. Like, this guy almost sings everything, but he can't help but to make you really seriously rethink the way in which you might be teaching your music students generally from the ground up. Like, he's completely blown my mind, and I can't wait for you to have a listen to what he does. He gets me singing, we're reciting patterns to each other. It's a really great fun interview, and I know you will enjoy it. Remember to, last week, I offered, for my 50th episode, very exciting, I offered $50 off membership of an annual membership to my InnerCircle, and I'm going to continue that on this week. If you're interested, then please take advantage of that. You can find out more by heading to timtopham.com/community. And if you're ready to take the plunge, dive in and really innovate and expand and develop your teaching with a whole group of people around to support you, then use the code TTTV podcast, Tim Topham TV podcast, in other words, TTTV podcast, in the coupon code when you sign up. I've got a no obligation money back guarantee, and you can pay either annually or monthly. But to get that offer, that's $50 off. You'll need the annual membership. I do hope you consider joining us. Well, and also another reminder too that we're also offering transcripts from episode 50 onwards. So you'll be able to get the transcript and all the show notes as usual, and be able to watch the videos at timtopham.com/episode 51. Now, my guest today, Andrew Mullen. He's a teacher, folk musician, multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, lifelong learner, and music learning theory teacher trainer. He has taught all levels of students in a number of subjects, and is currently a middle school music teacher and curriculum coach in Burlington, Massachusetts. Andy holds master's degrees in music education and school administration, as well as certification from the Gordon Institute of Music Learning in elementary general music. So today's guest really knows music learning theory. He's been trained by the master and his institute, and he goes around teaching other teachers how to teach this. And the best part of this, and the reason I love doing these podcasts, is you can hear, you can see, and you can really interact with Andy. I'm also going to incorporate some of the videos that he mentioned and talked about in the blog post on Monday. So if you haven't read his blog post from Monday, totally fine, but I would encourage you to do that at some stage. I'm going to include some of the videos that he's created to help teachers just like you understand this concept of audiation better in amongst the podcast discussion that we're about to have now. So I reckon we'll just get into it now. He will, I think, completely blow your mind. Here's Andy Mullen. All right, Andy, welcome to the call finally. Great to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here, pleasure to talk with you. I love all the stuff that you've done for the piano world and the music education world at large, so it's just just a real pleasure to talk with you.
Brilliant. Well, look, and if for those of you who are listening and not watching, you'll notice that Andy sounds incredibly professional. I think this is one of the most professional interviewees I've had on here. But you'll find out why a bit later on when we discuss some of the videos that he's put together for you guys. So let's first talk about how you personally got into music learning theory, because you're not only teaching it to your students, you're actually, I think you're a presenter, is that right? Or you've certainly had study from the Gordon Institute.
That's a lot of that is right. About 5 years ago, I took an online course with noted choral pedagogue James Jordan, and I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a pretty crackerjack teacher, and he uses music learning theory as probably one of the main foundations of his whole practice. And so, after reading a lot of his materials, he kept making reference to this Edwin Gordon guy and to this monster book, Learning Sequences in Music by Dr. Gordon. It's a big one.
Oh my goodness, that is thick. I didn't realize it was that fat. I've been told it's pretty heavy reading.
It's heavy reading, literally and figuratively. So I thought I would go right to the source, and I bought the book, and I made it about 2 chapters in and just didn't understand any of it. So, so I bought these lecture CDs, which I would highly recommend to anybody. They're sold by GAA, which is the publication the publishing company that publishes all of Dr. Gordon's work. And there's a half-hour lecture that's associated with each chapter, and just everything really, really hit home. Listening to Dr. Gordon speak is a lot easier than actually reading him. So I would recommend that to anybody who's interested in music learning theory. There's some lectures that are available actually for free on the Gordon Institute of Music Learning Theory, University of South Carolina website. We can link to that later on. But that's really how I got started. I have about a half-hour, 45-minute commute, so spent a lot of time in the car just listening to the old guy talk, and it just really, really hit home. And he just said all the problems that I was having in music education, and he has answers. He has answers to many of those questions and many of those problems that we have. So, just listening and listening and listening, and then more books, and listening again. And it's MLT, music learning theory, is like, peeling back an onion. There's just the layers just never, ever, ever, ever stop. So it's been a really exciting journey for me, and I'm happy to be now presenting all that stuff that I've learned to the world at large.
Fantastic. And so what kind of teaching do you do these days?
Currently, I teach middle school general music. I have 6th and 7th graders. Is that what you call it there? Year 6 and...
Yep, so about 12, 13-year-olds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, early teenagers. And I teach keyboard to 6th graders and guitar to 7th graders, as well as just general musicianship. And I have 2 choruses, a big chorus and a more select chorus, and I do a little fiddle, a little banjo, and I have a rock band at the school. And yeah, so it's a great opportunity to implement MLT in a number of different areas.
And the great thing is that the concepts work for small groups, for individual, for classroom. So even though we're talking to you, you're a classroom specialist, effectively, I guess, in the middle years. All of the stuff that we're talking about can apply to any instrumental lesson, right?
Yeah, there's Gordon certifications in, there's one for early childhood. There's a whole mess of early childhood materials and resources and certifications. There's elementary general, which is the level that I just took last week. There's an instrumental one, as you know, you talked with Marilyn Lowe. There's a piano one. So as you say, it applies to individual students and groups as well.
Great. Well, look, we've had a lot of posts this week and some podcasts as well about music learning theory. And a lot of the talk is regarding this concept of audiation, which is a term that Dr. Gordon actually coined, I believe. And it's really, really crucial. But I think without seeing it in action, it's quite hard to understand. So I'm really excited to have you on to talk specifically about audiation, but to also share with my viewers some of your videos. which are just brilliant in actually getting a feel for these. So what I'm going to do now is just jump in. We're going to listen to part of one of Andy's Audiation station videos, and you can talk a little bit more about it afterwards. But would you recommend the teachers who are listening to this for the first time or watching it, what should they do as they're listening or watching?
Ooh, I think they should start at the beginning.
Yep.
That's what I think that they should do. They should start at the beginning. Gordon is fond of saying things like there's no correct chronological age. There's a musical age. So you never really know what your musical age is until you start back at the beginning.
Cool. All right. Well, let's have a quick listen to one of Andy's first videos.
Lesson 1. Sing the first pitch of the tonal pattern you hear. After each tonal pattern, there will be a brief pause. During the pause, audiate the first pitch. When you hear me take a breath, it's very important that you breathe with me and then sing the first pitch. Use the neutral syllable, bum. Let's practice. Here's your pattern. Bum, bum. Pause, audiate, sing the first pitch. Bum. Let's try another one. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum. Now try them on your own. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum.
Great. All right. So, Andy, tell us a little bit about what we've just heard and how we can actually use this in my audience as piano teachers, how we can apply it to the teaching that we're doing without having to go through all the process of having all the training. Are there things that we can do tomorrow with our students?
Absolutely. Music learning theory teaches with what is called a whole part whole philosophy, WHOLE, part, traditional spelling, and then whole, WHOLE. The whole, the first whole is the context that we're in. So the context being a tonality or a meter. The parts of it are what we refer to in MLT is tonal patterns and rhythm patterns. And then once we've listened to the whole, dissected it for parts, tonal patterns and rhythm patterns, which are the words of music, then the whole begins to make a lot more sense. We understand the context of the content. For example, if we just have bum, bum, that's just a tonal pattern that's out there in the world. Bum, bum. But there's no context to it. We can take bum, bum, and we can give it this context. Now that has more context, but say we give it a different context. Well, now that has a different context. Now we're in minor tonality. We could be in Phrygian tonality. You never know. We could be in Dorian tonality, but we're getting.
Let's stick with
we're
minor.
getting a lot close. Yeah. All right. Fine. We'll stick with minor. But I think too often as teachers, we give our students a lot of context without context, and they just become imitators.
Do you mean content without context? Or did you mean to say context without context?
I meant to say the right one, which is the way I think you said. We give
content without context.
Without context, yes.
Yeah.
And they become imitators, and they don't become audiators. And you need audiation in order to say something musically.
And so, part of this is about the fact that if they are given that context of, let's say, the major tonality, we want students to be able to go bum, bum, bum. Sorry, it's like 6 a.m. here. Bum, bum, bum. We want them to be able to hear that resting tone, the tonality of the key, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're in music learning theory, in the practical application of music learning theory, we're constantly asking students to provide that resting tone. Ya-da-da-ba-ba-da-bum-bum. Bum.
Bum.
We always want our students to be able to provide the resting tone, because without the resting tone, we don't have good intonation. We're constantly comparing whatever it is what we're doing to the resting tone. Now, that doesn't really make too much of a difference in piano, because everything is tuned. But for most other instruments, violin and horns, you really need to have a good sense of intonation. And so what the Audiation station videos do is, and what we just heard is, it's the parts. It takes students through just some very basic parts. In Audiation station, I plan to take students through major and minor tonalities, duple and triple meters, and teach students the one chord and the five chord in both tonalities, and for students to be able to understand big beats, little beats, divisions, and the space in between. So that's my goal. And so what we just heard was effectively just one little snippet of parts that students should be able to take and practice and eventually reproduce, and eventually, hopefully not too eventually, improvise with. And I think that's one of the most important things we can do for our students, is to teach them how to improvise.
So if I was a 13-year-old coming into your music class, what would the first 5 minutes be all about?
Ya-da-da-ba-ba-da-da-dum. This means audiate. Don't do anything, just audiate. Ya-da-da-ba-ba-da-da-dum. Listen to my song. Ba-da-da-da-dum. Bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum bum ba dum bum 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 bum. Move like me. Now you can't see my feet, but I'm yum bum bum. Move like me. Ba da 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 dum bum 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 ba da 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 da. Then move like me. Little beats on the lap like this. Ba-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. I'm doing the quick version for you.
Yeah.
Then put them together.
So you're tapping the feet? Is that what you're doing that we can't see?
That's right.
Yeah.
Shall I move my computer?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So big beats are in the feet. Little beats are in the lap with what we call spider fingers. Then we try to put them together. Move like me, bum, bum, together now, bum, ba-dum, bum, etc.
And all this time they're just listening, and
they're just
tapping, no vocalizing.
Not yet. No, this is the whole philosophy. They're getting the whole, lots of times. But at the same sense, we're comparing the whole against the parts. What are the parts? Big beats,
which we'd call crotchets, I guess, right? Or whole notes. Whole notes. No.
That's
quarter notes.
It's a bad word in music learning theory
is
terms.
Why is that?
Yeah, because that's what we would call in the business theoretical understanding. We want to start with labels that are kind of devoid of theory. So big beats and little beats together. So we've isolated a couple of rhythmic elements. We still have the big whole. Then we talk about flow. We don't talk about flow. We do flow. Flow is very, very important, because flow is the space in between the beats. So we do it again. Yum, bum, bum. Listen to my song. And we do little flow. Ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. As much as they'll do, sometimes they're a little leery about flowing way too much. So those are some rhythmic elements. Then we do some tonal elements. Yum, bum, bum. Listen to my song, and whenever I stop, I want you to sing bum. Ba da 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 dum bum bum. Bum. They all say bum. We haven't labeled it anything because we're still in what's called oral, in through the ears, out through the mouth, and back in. Bum, 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 which is a little bit challenging because it's a 5-chord function, and they have to kind of go back to one bum.
Yeah.
And then we do a ba da 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 dum bum bum bum. Let it linger. Bum. Good. Very nice.
How did I go? Did I go well?
It was a great bum. Great bum.
Well, thanks.
And then we say something like, now you've heard that song about 1,700 times. Could you please audiate the song? Can you please raise your hand when you are done audiating the song? Yum, bum, bum. Audiate. And then they'll raise their hand when they're done. And then now you've heard me sing the song about 1,700 times. I bet you'd like to sing the song. Yay! Yum, bum, bum. Ready, sing. Da, 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 da. Then the one kid with the changed voice. And then they sing. And then we do something like, I have this kind of all dialed up here ready to go. Because I would love for you to sing it and then for me to sing something else, but I don't think that it would jive in the space-time continuum. Probably.
We could try.
Right?
Do you want to try?
All right, let's try it. So you sing the song, and I'm going to sing a different song. I'm going to call it my song. Yum, bum, bum. Ready, sing.
Ba, 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 ba. Well, that's going to be fascinating to listen back to, or really awful.
So effectively, you're singing the melody, and I'm singing the bass line. I'm providing the harmony for them.
Yeah.
And then I divide the class in half, and one half would sing the melody, then the other half would sing the chord roots, the harmonic functions. And then we would switch, and they would have the very first really true musical experience with melody and rhythm and harmony all together. Now, I talked a lot. In reality, that would take about, 3, depending upon the length of the song, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And it's a really, really great introduction to music learning theory. And that's really what I was trying to provide in the A-Tune videos, is listening opportunities for individuals to be able to listen and pick out melody and pick out rhythm and pick out harmony and have those kinds of musical experiences.
It's such a great overview. I really, really love that you've gone and demonstrated this for us, because it really puts it into perspective. You can read all you want about audiation, but to actually hear someone who knows what they're doing actually do it, I think is brilliant. So I actually reckon we might have a listen to one of your e-tunes right now. So this is a chance for all the teachers watching to actually participate in exactly the activity you've just described, right?
Absolutely. And there's a video that's at the beginning of the playlist, which kind of gives you directions and challenges you and charges you with what you should be doing with these A-Tune videos.
Okay, so to save us worrying about that now, can you give them a quick overview of what they should be doing when we're about to listen to this one now? We won't play the whole thing, but just a little bit of it.
Well, you just heard it. You should basically go through rote song procedure with these videos. So listen to the videos, see if you can move your feet to the big beat. Move your hands to the little beat. Can you do both together? Can you move with flow as you're listening to them? Can you sing the resting tone? As you're listening to it, can you constantly hear the resting tone? Can you sing the melody? There's spaces in the video where the melody drops out. You've heard it about, by the time the melody drops out, you probably have heard it 6 or 7 or 8 times. Can you sing the melody without the support of having it actually, in physical space? Can you listen to the bass line, and when the bass drops out, can you sing the bass line by yourself? So it's really kind of an interactive musical experience.
I also like that the instruments built up as well over time. So you would start with just, I think it's a piano, is it? And then
sometimes it's a piano, yeah.
Yeah, and then we add more and more instruments. But I'm as interested Actually, no, we're going to come back to that. Let's have a listen now to your one of your E tunes. Which one would you recommend? Because they're all in the different key modes, aren't they?
Yeah, I would start with major and minor. Those are
All right.
that's where we start with in music learning theory. So maybe start with major.
Great. So let's have a listen to the major E tune from Andy right now. I really love coming back to what you were talking about with regard to how you approach your classes, is that you're using your voice. It sounds like you're using your voice almost the whole time. You haven't played an instrument. You're not playing that thing. You're actually singing it. Is that an important thing? Or could you just as well play it on a violin?
I think most music learning theory teachers use their voice as their primary instrument. Now, I play piano, I play guitar, I play fiddle, I play banjo, and I do often use these kinds of instruments because they do provide harmonic stability, which I think is important. But as much as I possibly can, I like to use my voice. And the voice is the delivery of the patterns as well, which we haven't talked about in relation to the part whole, the patterns being part of our audiation vocabulary. We use our voice for that. For example, if audiate the pattern I sing, wait for the gesture, take a breath, and be my echo. Tim, would you be my echo?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm establishing tonality. This can't be anything else but major tonality. If we were in minor tonality, can't be anything else but minor tonality. Back to major. Be my echo. Bum bum.
Bum bum.
Very good. Could you take a breath before you go? Bum bum. Me first. Bum bum.
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 Bum bum bum.
Bum
Bum bum bum. I think I botched that one. Bum bum bum.
bum bum bum.
And then that's oral. Then the next thing we would do is we would use solfege to label it. Sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, ti, do. We're in the tonality of major because do has the resting tone. Please sing do.
Do.
What's the tonality?
Do.
Major tonality.
Major.
Then we would apply the syllables to those same patterns that we did. Do, mi, do.
Do, mi, do.
Re, ti, re.
Re, ti, re.
So, mi, do.
So, mi, do.
Very nice. Any combination of do, mi, so is what we call in the business music
Major.
learning theory.
Oh, what was it? Was I going to get it wrong?
Well,
I was going to say a major triad.
Yes, with music theory, not to be confused with music learning theory, but with music learning theory, we label that, purists would label that tonic. I, in my own practice, and with apologies to Dr. Gordon, who's watching over us all, we call him the MLT police, but he's no longer with us, so, his power is useless here. In my own practice, I call it a one-chord pattern. For me, tonic is not the best label. Now, MLT purists would argue that you don't want to use one because numbers mean something else to students. I understand that, but I feel it's inappropriate. If we're already going tonic, dominant, tonic, we're already kind of teaching them two labels, so I'm just going to cut right to the chase and just call it a one-chord pattern, or for short, one. So anyway, back to my explanation. Any combination of do, mi, so is called a one-chord pattern. If I sing a combination of do, mi, so, say one. If I sing anything other than a one-chord pattern, say no. Let's practice.
Okay.
Do, mi, so.
Do.
One.
Sorry.
So, fa, re, ti.
No.
And we would go on, and we would label any combination of so, fa, re, ti is called a five-chord pattern. If I sing a five-chord pattern, say five. If I sing anything else, you say no. So we're teaching students to label and to really get the sounds of do, mi, so, fa, re, ti in their ears, so that when we get to that first song that we're going to play on the keyboard, and for me, it's Mary Had a Little Ham. I can't do Mary.
Did you say ham?
I can't. That's right. I can't do Mary Had a Little Lamb in middle school, so I talk about this selfish little girl named Mary who wouldn't give me any of her ham. So I sing, Mary had a little ham, little ham, little ham. Mary had a little lamb and wouldn't give me none. Pardon the double negatives. So when we get to that song, I want them to have that sound. I want them to have that in their ears. I want them to have that sense of harmony in their ears. I think that's one of the main problems with music education today is melody, 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 no context. And we totally forget about harmony until they get to what? College?
If that.
I mean, if that. I think we need to have a blend in music education of melody, rhythm, and harmony. It's the 3/3 of music, and harmony is really traditionally largely being ignored. I've been talking a lot. I'm sorry. I'm on tangent upon tangent upon tangent.
It's what I've got you on here to do, right? This is what I want to get as much from you as I can in a short amount of time. I'm really interested. How do your teenagers take a lesson like this, or do they just know nothing else? Because I would imagine other teachers who might have been teaching in a different way and might look at this and go, that sounds really good. It makes so much sense. But my teenagers would look at me like I'm a complete idiot if I started just getting them to swing their arms around and all that. Am I off? Have I got it completely wrong?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think that it's really all in your delivery. Now, my students, they're just used to me singing directions, and we have like little roasts before all of our concerts, and they all just start talking they're just used to it. They're just used to this language. They're just used to 1/5. They're used to bum. They're just used to this language. And as a matter of fact, in my district, we're going quote unquote all MLT next year. The district kind of hired me as an in-house professional development specialist, curriculum coach, and we're implementing this K-12s. And I
Really?
think that
That's
that's a
huge.
very, it is huge. It's a very, very exciting time for me and for many teachers in the district. Maybe not all of them, but I think it's going to be fantastic that when students come to me in sixth grade, they already have a basic working musicianship, and they understand already when they come to me what a one and a five is, and they're already audiating what the difference between major and minor is. And I really, I dang it, I shouldn't have to do this in the middle school, and I shouldn't have to teach them what a resting tone is. I think this really should be a part of every music student's vocabulary, and it's not. Currently, my students, when they come into me in sixth grade, most of them cannot audiate. I mean, they all audiate to, they don't have the labels. They can audiate. Everybody audiates to a specific degree, but for the most part, most students in this country and maybe the world just are not audiators. As I said, they're imitators, and that's what the GIML, the Gordon Institute of Music Learning Theory, is trying to do. Is trying to teach students in this way.
What do you mean by imitating? Singing back what they hear on the radio, sort of thing, but not understanding it from a tonal perspective.
Yes, imitation without understanding. If I sang to them, ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba ba. If I said, "Could you sing to me the resting tone?" They first of all, I mean, or if I used a word other than resting tone, could you sing me home? No, they could not. Could you tell me what meter we're in? No. Could you show me where the big beats are, where the little beats are? They, we're as a world, as a music education profession, we're just not teaching our students to understand. We're teaching them to just imitate. And really, the truly sad thing about imitation, and this is directly out of Gordon's mouth, is if you gave a concert and the next day asked all of your students in solo to sing the song from the concert, the majority of them would likely not even be able to sing back by themselves. Everybody is just constantly imitating each other, and that's why we have individual class patterns in music learning theory. A pattern isn't a student's property until they can sing it back to you in solo. Then it becomes their property.
I think this is all just such a fascinating approach, and it makes just so much sense. As everyone who has responded to any of the posts that we've put out in this month have said, "Oh, this just makes so much sense." So it's fantastic to hear that the music district has actually gone, you know what? I think this is important, which is great, and it's great that you've got music in your primary schools. I mean, over here, it's music's really at the primary school level. It's at the elementary level. It's becoming a little bit rare. Kids don't learn sort of Christmas carols or folk songs anymore at class. They don't sing national anthems very often. It's pretty sad.
So they don't take music the same way they would take art class, physical education class. They don't.
It depends on the school, as far as I believe. Look, I would like to think that most of them do have something, but it wouldn't be that comprehensive or that often, if at all. But the amount of time that's being devoted to it is definitely reducing, and it has an impact.
Oh, that's a shame, and it just speaks to how society at large feels about music education. They feel as if it's just a time for teachers to classroom teachers to grade papers, and you need something for them to do, so they might as well do art, they might as well do music. But and they feel that way because they themselves were probably given less than adequate music education. They weren't taught to audiate, so the cycle just continues and continues, and that's what I'm trying to do as best as I can, and in my YouTube way to get audiation out there.
We're going to share lots of links to all your videos, as you have done in the blog post this week. So thank you very much for sharing that. I wanted to ask you about Kadai and its use in music learning theory and the importance of it, because I know that when you start with these tonal patterns, the instruction from Dr. Gordon, I believe, is to use neutral syllables, ba, da, bum, and things like that, which is what we've been doing today. But then you take it another step and you start adding sulfur or solfege. Why is that important?
Well, can I just address the beginning of your question? You asked about Kodai. I guess I wasn't following how Kodai fits into your question.
Oh, okay. So, well, my understanding is that the solfege concept was a Kodai construct.
Oh, I mean, it goes back even farther than Kodai. I mean, Kodai just happened to use this technique. Yeah, I mean, solfege syllables go back to, Guido in the, I think the 15th century, if I'm getting my music history correct. But this constant, but okay, now that we have that cleared up, to answer your question, this concept of using solfege, it's a technique. It's a technique, and when we begin, we use what is called aural neutral syllable. Bum 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 bum, and in rhythm we use ba 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 ba. And the reason we use those syllables is because Gordon always says that the sound itself is fundamental. Bum bum is it. That's the sound is the thing first. And the reason that we use these syllables is because if we start to have too many patterns, students don't have a way to organize them and generalize them. So we use in rhythm, we use this beat function syllable that's all based on do, so that students can have an organizational taxonomy in their brain of the system. So the way that the system works in rhythm is all macro beats are do, 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 do. So the big beats are always do, 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 do. If we take the big beat, we can either divide it into 2 or 3. If we're in duple, we use do day, do day, do day, do day, do day, do day. If we're in triple, we use do dotty. Big beat is still do, do, do. Then do dotty, do, do, dee do. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Do, dee do, dee do da dee do. And I don't know how much further you want me to delve into this syllable system. Shall I go one more layer?
One more.
We use the syllable ta to indicate that we're going to further divide the beat. So do day, do day, do day, add a ta, do to data, to data, do to day, do ta, 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 to do to day, do. Or if we're in triple, do da dee, do to dee, do to da to dee to do ta, ta, to do da dee, do to da to dee to do. So we're teaching them rhythmic function. Now, so you could take do da dee do da dee do. Is that 3/4 or 6/8? Who the heck knows? Because it's the same sound. If you audiate Silent Night, ba 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 ba, put a gun to your head. Is it written in 3/4 or 6/8? I don't know. So why should the syllable system be any different? Do to dee do. Do to dee do. So it's quote unquote in rhythmic, the same way same word would be enharmonic, C flat and B. Well, this is in rhythmic. You could write that same rhythm pattern in 6/8 or 3/4, and the ending sound would be exactly the same.
I remember Marilyn talking about that, and that's the reason that you use the enharmonic structures is for that reason, and it's something that confounds students all the time, doesn't it? That something that looks this way can sound different, or vice versa.
Yeah, and then it's music notation has its limitations, and I think that if we follow the skill learning sequence that Gordon provides for us, if we start with the ear first, have an aural organization taxonomy of these rhythm patterns and tonal patterns, then when we get to reading, it's just, oh, I know what it sounds like. This is what it looks like. It could look like this. It could look like that. But if it's always already in your audiation, making that transfer to reading is just, it's just a lot easier.
So the answer, I guess, to the question, reusing the solfege, is to give them a way to you called it a taxonomy, a way to describe what's going on musically.
Yeah, an organizational system. If they hear bum bum bum, they can, if they're taught that's do mi so, oh, that's a one chord pattern. So you hear a walking bass go a boom ba boom 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 boom. Ooh, I hear that. That's a one chord pattern or a tonic pattern. Boom 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 boom. I already know what that sounds like. I know how to play that on the piano. No. And then you hear a boom, 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 boom. Oh, that's a 4-chord pattern. Yeah, I didn't know what it sounds like. It's just a beautiful system.
Yeah, it's fantastic. How long did it take you to learn all of this?
Let's see, 45 minutes a day in the car times home and back. No, just kidding. It's dense. It's dense, man. But I think that it's not as dense as... It's not as dense as this. It doesn't need to be this complicated.
And he's holding up Dr. Gordon's original book, which is half the size of the Bible and double the physical size this way.
I think that one thing that music learning theory practitioners and Dr. Gordon himself did not do very well is to disseminate the information in bite-sized ways, step by step, so that people, or persons, as Dr. Gordon would say, so that persons could grasp it. And that's really what I'm trying to do with my audiation station videos and my YouTube channel, is to get this information out there in an accessible way, so that people can begin to audiate. And it's not as hard as that book is making it out to be. I mean, it's dense and there's a lot to think about, but I think to do the bare minimum is not that hard. Is that a good way to put it? To do the bare minimum, to teach your students. I mean, if you took in everything that I said today in 44 minutes and 37 seconds, I mean, that's a good starting point. You've got a lot to get you started, to teach students lots of wholes, WHOLE, that is tonalities and meters. You got to learn them yourself. That makes you a better musician to learn them. So spend a little time with these audiations, or these etunes. Learn some tonalities. Learn some new rhythms. Learn some tonal patterns. Learn what they mean, and challenge yourself. Just start at the very, very beginning. I think that it's doable. It's doable.
Fantastic. And with your videos, I think absolutely it's doable. So my suggestion to everyone watching is to go and actually listen to your videos, or watch them, and just have them playing. I was having them playing while I was preparing questions and things for podcasts. And as you say, they repeat so many times, you start humming them almost without trying. And which might not be the point, of course, because you're trying to get people to concentrate, but you do pick these things up and you can get a pretty good idea of the concepts that you're trying to teach through just absorbing that way.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, Phrygian is no big deal anymore. I mean, it's just part of my audiation vocabulary right now. And I just had the very distorted view of what the modes actually were. I thought that they were just really abstract scales that people who really, really knew what they were doing in the jazz world, they would, I'm playing with Phrygian. It just did not make any sense to me until I started studying this material and realized that Phrygian, yes, it could be a scale that you use, but these modes are tonal centers. There are songs that are in Phrygian. There are songs that are in Lydian. And they're beautiful. And gosh, if we could get musicians to start playing songs and learning songs and writing songs in Phrygian and Locrian. I mean, there are a lot of songs that are in Dorian, many songs that are in Dorian. A lot of reggae songs are in Dorian. A lot of folk songs are in Dorian. But do the musicians who are playing them know that they are in Dorian, as opposed to they just have a minor chord, so it just must be in minor? Nay, 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 nay. No. There's a big difference between Dorian and minor. Shall I one to it?
Yes.
For your listeners?
Yes, very quickly.
All right. Same basic pattern, but with Dorian.
Got that beautiful uplift, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah.
That major sixth.
Bit. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, this is brilliant. I just wanted to ask you whether you had any examples of a breakthrough or a big advantage that you've seen in your students that this process has created. You know, suddenly a student could just play this thing that they couldn't before, or they'd put together a fantastic band, or I'm not sure. Have you got anything that you can think of?
Oh, it just happens all the time. You know, it just happens all the time. You know, in my chorus, I would love to play you some ABs of my chorus. Once they understood the concept of resting tone, their intonation has just improved like leaps and bounds. Just a tremendous. So anybody who's a chorus teacher, I would strongly recommend, you know, wrapping your head around this, because once you teach these concepts to your chorus, it's pretty incredible the way that the intonation gels. Once you start teaching flow, I know it seems a little odd to get your kids to do this, but once you start teaching flow, you have far fewer problems with tempos just taking off. Why? Because they understand the space in between the big beats.
Brilliant. I think we're going to stop there because, you know, it's just been brilliant. And I've got a few more questions for you, but I think when we add the videos in, this will be over an hour already. So I think that's a great amount of time. Maybe we'll even chop it up into 2 podcasts or something, because I'd prefer to actually share more of those videos perhaps than less. So anyway, I'll have a bit of a think about that. But look, people are going to want to know where to find out more about what you're doing. So where should they go to find out about you and what you're working on?
Well, I have a humble little website called theimprovingmusician.com, and it's a little bit of an upstart website. There's not that much stuff, but all of my YouTube content is on there. If you know of a good web designer, let me know, because it needs a little bit of a facelift. Yeah, it needs a makeover for sure.
But you got to start somewhere, so that's good. Yeah, it's great that you're getting. Yeah, look, and can I thoroughly encourage people to go and watch and listen to your videos? The quality of them is outstanding. It looks like you're an absolute professional. Well, you are a professional, but a professional voiceover person or something. Like, they sound so clear and they're so easy to understand. So thank you so much for putting that out there. I was also going to ask whether you actually have put together a method of some sort, or books or anything to support the work that you do.
Well, I have a quote-unquote method book that I use with my 6th graders, but it has not been made available for publication. Maybe I could put something together like that. But so I guess the quick answer is no. Is yes, but no. Yes, I've made one. It's just, you know, a collection of PDFs and takes my students through what I want them to know at the keyboard. I want to show your readers, your viewers, one other thing. This is a plug for a program called Little Kids Rock. Have you talked to anybody about Little Kids Rock? It's just an amazing program, and they have these things that are called jam cards. Get in on this, Tim.
Yeah,
these things are fantastic. This is what a jam card looks like. It's little cards, and this is a wonderful technique that I use for my students. Once they've learned what a 1 chord is and a 5 chord is, well, this card gives them a visual representation of a 1 chord and a 5 chord. Let me pop it on here. See if you can.
Oh, yeah, okay.
that it fall over.
Yep.
So right now we're in FDO, and it's just a really easy, quick way for them to just put their fingers in the right place without explaining it.
Yeah.
And then you just move it over, and all of a sudden you're in G-Do, and you move it over again, you're in A-Do. It's a pretty remarkable thing.
Groovy.
So I use this as part of my curriculum, which is, I guess, why I haven't really published it, because, I'm using somebody else's.
Yeah. Where do people find those, or find out more about them? Maybe you can send me a link.
That's at littlekidsrock.org. I believe you can print them out.
Great. And there was a link that you mentioned right at the start. We must try and remember what that is and pop a link to that in the show notes. I'll get back to you on it.
Very good.
Brilliant. Andy, thank you so much. And it was really great fun talking to you. I'm inspired. I'm going to do some doo-da-dee-does.
Well, very good. It's been a pleasure talking with you as well.
Thanks so much. We'll speak to you again soon.
Very good. Cheers.
All right. Bye-bye.
If the idea of a piano teachers community where you get to access the best educational resources, rub shoulders with expert teachers from around the world, and have immediate access to feedback for any of your questions, then InnerCircle membership is for you. The InnerCircle is my private community of piano teachers from across the globe who share a commitment to creating and delivering the most inspiring, modern and progressive learning experiences for their students. Membership is now open, so head to timtopham.com/community to find out more and get involved today. I can't wait to see you on the inside.